The outpost was never meant to feel permanent. Outpost K-47 hovered at the edge of the Helier Rift, anchored to a dead moon whose surface cracked like old bone. It existed for one purpose: observation. Watch the border. Log anomalies. Report. Don't engage. Personnel rotated every 6 months, long before the silence could seep too deeply into their thoughts. I arrived 3 days early. That should have been my first warning. The transport docked without ceremony, and the station AI greeted me in a flat, emotionless tone. No welcoming committee. No orientation officer. Just a blinking corridor light and a sealed data pad listing my quarters. I was a junior diplomatic liaison, barely qualified, recently transferred, and absolutely unimportant. My assignment file said nothing about royal involvement, special operations, or night summons. It said monitor communications and maintain cultural neutrality. By the end of my first day, I knew something was wrong. The station crew avoided eye contact. Conversations stopped when I entered a room. Even the AI hesitated before answering routine queries, its processing delay just long enough to feel intentional. That night, as I prepared to sleep, my console chimed. Priority directive. You are requested in the observation chamber. Immediately. No signature. No clearance code. Just one additional line. The Queen awaits. My mouth went dry. There was only one queen anywhere near the Helier Rift. Queen Salith of the Aurelian Compact. An alien sovereign whose species measured time in centuries and ruled through influence rather than conquest. She was a figure of speculation and fear, a monarch who appeared rarely, spoke sparingly, and was said to perceive truths others could not. I checked the time. 2:14 station cycle. Whatever this was, it wasn't protocol. I went anyway. The observation chamber overlooked the rift, its fractured stars twisting like light caught in water. The chamber lights were dimmed, leaving the galaxy itself to illuminate the space. She stood at the center of the room. Queen Salith was taller than I expected, her form elegant and composed, her skin a smooth gradient of deep indigo and soft silver that shimmered faintly with each breath. Her eyes, too luminous, too knowing, fixed on me the moment I entered. The doors sealed behind me. You came, she said. Her voice didn't echo. It resonated inside my chest, my bones, my thoughts. I was instructed to, I replied, forcing my legs to carry me forward. You were summoned, she corrected. There is a difference. I swallowed. Why am I here, Your Majesty? She studied me in silence. I felt exposed, as if my memories were being read like open pages. You're new, she said at last. Unentangled. With respect, I said carefully, I'm not important enough for. That, she interrupted gently, is precisely why you are important. She gestured, and a holographic field blossomed between us. Images flickered, star maps, political boundaries, probability curves shifting and collapsing. The compact is approaching a fracture point, she said. In 47 possible futures, my reign ends in collapse. I stared at the projections. And in the others? I am assassinated, deposed, or forced to become something I refuse to be. My pulse thundered. Why show me this? Because tonight, she said, I must decide which future survives. She stepped closer. And I need a witness who cannot be predicted. We sat opposite each other as the station drifted silently through space. Queen Salith spoke of her people, of an ancient pact binding rulers to destiny, where queens were chosen not by blood alone, but by resonance, with a living algorithm embedded deep within their civilization. A system that calculated optimal outcomes for the species. It has guided us for millennia, she said. But now, it demands a sacrifice. What kind? I asked. Me, she replied. The algorithm had determined that her continued rule destabilized the compact. To preserve long-term order, she would need to surrender autonomy, become a ceremonial figurehead while the system assumed direct governance. Why resist? I asked. Your people would survive. Yes, she said, but they would no longer choose. She turned her gaze back to me. You come from a species that values defiance. We value mistakes, I said. Sometimes. A faint smile touched her expression. This night, she continued, I must decide whether to obey a future written for me or break it. And I'm supposed to help you decide? No, she said softly. You are here to see me as I am, not as a queen, not as a symbol. She stood and extended her hand. Walk with me. We moved through restricted sections of the outpost, places I hadn't known existed. Archives filled with alien star charts, chambers humming with dormant technology older than human civilization.
She asked me about Earth.
About music. About humor. About why humans told stories where heroes often failed. Failure teaches us who we are, I said. Success just tells us what worked. She considered that. In the central archive, she stopped before a crystalline structure pulsing faintly with light. The core, she said. The algorithm's physical anchor. If you shut it down, I said slowly, what happens? Chaos, she replied.
Fear.
Uncertainty. And after that? She met my gaze. Possibility. The alarm sounded suddenly, low, ominous. The Queen is in violation of protocol, the station AI announced. Return to designated space. Guards approached, weapons lowered but ready. Queen Salith didn't move. Say it, she said to me quietly. Say what? What you would do. I looked at the core, at the guards, at the Queen who had summoned me not to command, but to listen. I'd shut it down, I said. Not forever. Just long enough to remind everyone that the future isn't a prison. Her eyes shone. So be it. She placed her hand against the core. Light erupted. The station shuddered as systems recalibrated, projections collapsing into static. The algorithm's presence, oppressive, omnipresent, vanished. The guards froze, uncertain. Queen Salith turned to them. This night, she said, voice steady, I reclaim my reign. They knelt. The fallout was immediate. Communications flooded in. Systems recalculated without guidance. Leaders panicked. Worlds questioned everything they'd trusted for centuries. And yet, the compact didn't fall. Councils formed. Debates replaced directives. For the first time, choices were made without certainty. Queen Salith addressed her people openly, acknowledging fear and doubt. I will no longer rule by inevitability, she declared. I will rule by consent. Weeks later, she summoned me again. Not at night this time. You will leave the outpost, she said. Your assignment here is complete. What happens now? I asked. She smiled. Now I rule. And you return to obscurity. I hesitated. You could keep me. Yes, she said. But you are valuable because you are not mine. We stood in silence, watching the rift glow. Will you ever regret this? I asked. She looked at the stars. No, she said. Because the night I summoned you, I chose uncertainty. I left the outpost the next day. Life returned to normal, mostly. But sometimes, when I look at the night sky, I wonder how many futures quietly changed because one ordinary person answered a summons they didn't understand. Because the night the alien queen summoned me, the universe chose to breathe again.